Why I think I fight. Do I enjoy it? No. Do I enjoy training? No. Do I enjoy cutting weight? No. Am I nervous? Yes. Do I think to myself, what am I doing? Yes. Completely. Unfortunately, it's one of those things you're either born with or you're not. And the only way I can explain it, to try and make it make any sense, is that if I'm not doing something which is either extremely difficult or extremely stressful, I'm in a perpetual state of crippling boredom. I can't explain it. I see other people live their lives and they're like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend because I want to watch this movie. I think, who cares about a movie? You're looking forward to the weekend for a movie? Looking forward to the weekend to get drunk? Like, these things to me are so mundane. They mean nothing. And if I don't fight, if I'm not in a situation where I'm stressed or worried or concerned, I'm just perpetually bored. And boredom's crippling. If you're an intelligent person and you've got a good brain on your shoulders, you can't just sit there bored, you know? So most smart people take the academic route to avoid boredom. They learn, but that's never really interested me either. Although I've always been an intelligent guy and I've always done well academically, it never really interested me. And then I see people climb Mount Everest or jump off buildings or do base jumping, or the guy who jumped from space, people think, what's he doing? He's crazy. I understand. Because some people can't live normal lives. Some people cannot just function 9 to 5 office job, get drunk at the weekends. That is not for some individuals, and it's not for me. So I have to find something which keeps me physically tired enough to stop me going AWOL, and mentally tired enough. And I've chosen fighting, because without this, when I'm not in training, I wake up every day and think, okay, what am I going to do today? It's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, I'm bored, everyone's at work, I'm bored, and I'll end up doing something crazy. I'll either end up drunk or on the Eurostar, or, you know, it's just a random lifestyle, because I'm constantly looking for never-ending entertainment, and it doesn't exist. I think the only thing that could stop me fighting is if I had enough money to constantly entertain myself. Unless I'm a billionaire, I need something that keeps me focused and keeps me occupied in life. With fighting, I have to train twice a day, and I have to train hard, and the stress it brings in every aspect can replace fun, and my mind is occupied. It occupies me. It's the only way I can try and explain it. It occupies me, and I could never stop doing this even if I lost 100 fights, because I'm not built to live a normal existence. I can't do it. I couldn't just have a kid, some girl, and sit at home and work a little bit and relax. I've never relaxed in my entire life. I don't know what relaxing is. It's just not.
The world has become exceptionally easy for a lot of men. It used to be a different place. Most men were cannon fodder. Most of us would have ended up in wars, dying for no reason. Now we don't have to do that. So because we don't have to do that, men think it's okay to just become comfortable now. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You were never evolved to be comfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. And if you make yourself uncomfortable constructively, it's very easy to be anything you want. You talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I know the game. I used to play the old one on the PlayStation 1 when I was a child. But I've never played any of those games, but I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. Like, my life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll buy it. If I want a car, I'll buy it. I want Joe Garrett. Me, I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot. If you get some balls, that's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. All these women that you just put me on with are born with value. They're pretty already. They're gorgeous already. They're good looking enough. Even if they're a 5, someone's going to they exist because someone wants to them. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game, you start with 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. So I find it amazing that men are going to play video games and about and waste their time instead of upgrading their character. Everyone knows what to do. You know what you have to do. If you had to become the most dangerous, intelligent, respectable man on the planet, you know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice. I made the choice to do it all. I decided all. And every single man watching this can do the exact same thing.
Depression isn't real. Depression is a state of mind designed to motivate you to find a life that doesn't depress you any further. That's all it is. Now you have to decide, are you man enough to go and get it done, or are you going to sit around and cry? And depression, the reason I talk about depression a lot is because depression in the Western world is to cure all. It's to cure all excuse. This is what people are using. My life because I'm depressed. No, you're depressed because your life is the other way around.
I've always been rich, but I'm not just rich because of money. You have to understand, I'm rich because of a bunch of things that money cannot buy. Like, I know there's people with lots of money, but they don't have the network I have. They don't have the brotherhood I have. Just sitting with my boys knowing that if the bullets start flying, me and my 10 friends, we all die, or no one dies. Having that brotherhood, having women who would literally, you could go to jail for 10 years and they would wait for you. They exist for you and only you, completely and utterly. You are their entire universe. Like having physicality, walking through the world bigger and stronger than everyone else, having all those professional fights, and all the bad things, having the trauma, all the pain, all the been through. You ain't a good man if you haven't had trauma. A man without trauma is a weakling.
Andrew, I've been stabbed with a knife before.
Congratulate. Good. Finally, something admirable. Show me.
I got 8 stitches. It was in my sleep.
Good. Good. See, now that's what I like to hear. So that's what I love to hear. Because as a man, you need things that almost kill you and don't kill you. So I'm rich not because of money. I'm rich because I've been through a whole bunch. Like, I don't see anyone else on the planet richer than me because they're either too old or their life's been too easy. Like, I've had a very, very unique life, very, very eclectic life. I was born with the best possible start a man can have, which is good parents and no money. I've made all of my money completely myself the hard way. None of this internet, Twitch, easy. I'm one of the richest men on the planet because of all the things I have that money cannot buy. My money's nothing, right? Money's easy. Like, once you're past 10 mil, let's say, there ain't nothing to buy. I believe money is an amplifier. I don't believe money changes. I think it amplifies. So if you're a dork and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega dork. Whereas if you're a G and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega G. If you see a Lamborghini pull up and a little nerd gets out, you think, oh, super tech nerd, probably invented Stripe or something, he's a nerd. Whereas if you see a Lambo pull up and a big and strong, bald, whatever, crazy dude gets out, you think, okay, he's a drug dealer, he's a mafia boss. The Lambo doesn't change what you think, it amplifies who the person is. Money is an amplifier, it doesn't change. So I'm very fortunate, I'm very happy that I was poor for a long time because I never would have been able to learn the lessons I've learned if I was rich. I would have never been able to take those risks. I would have never been able to be in those situations. I've been stabbed just like you. I'll show you my scar. So I would never have been able to have been put through hell if I had money. So I'm very glad I was poor for a very long time. And the reason I'm the richest person on the planet is not because of the amount of money I have, it's because of all the shit that happened to me when I was poor. That's when I became top G. It's only when I became rich that people started to pay attention. Everyone wants to be me. I'm top G for a reason. I've got it all. I've got every single gift that God can give, plus all the gifts you can make yourself. And I state that without arrogance. I don't mean to be arrogant, but I am a realist. And as a realist, it would be absolutely unprofessional for me to sit here and pretend I'm not an exceptional human being. Because I am. And a lot of those things I did myself. And some of them were God-given. But the ones that weren't God-given was because I put myself through hell. I put myself through hell because I decided to throw comfort away. For 10 years of my life, I was never comfortable. Never for a second. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're gonna end up like. They say, yeah, that's true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, etc., etc. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. You wouldn't want to be, if you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious. I'm with killers. We're monsters. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious. And that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a fucking monster, you'd want to become a monster. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, why are you hanging around with people you don't want to be? That's why I live in a competitive environment. I live with my brother, my cousin. I live with men. We have a big house. We could all afford 10 houses each. We live together on purpose. If my brother does 500 push-ups, I ain't going to be to the house. I ain't going to not do them. Because that's how life was. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. Wow. God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me? Men who thought they could test me in fair combat. How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Anyone who is watching this stream below the age of 30, your brain is already broken. And I'll tell you it's broken. I'll tell you why. Watch your friends when they're on TikTok. How long can they even focus on a video before they have to change? Half a second, maybe. All of your minds are broken. You can't even focus on anything anymore. Right. You are constantly distracted to the point where you can't even appreciate the good things in your life. You're distracted. Your minds are broken. You need to rewire your mind and resist the slave programming.
How?
They have programs. I'll tell you how. First thing you have to do is identify it. You have to identify what is happening to you. I use my mind to break the trap. What I do is I allow my enemy to manipulate me on purpose. And then I use my mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators. I will sit on TikTok for a day and I'll just enjoy TikTok. And by the end of the day, I'll watch myself. How quickly I'm looking to be entertained, how little time I give a video, how f***ed up I am. And then I'll blink and I'll cure my brain. You must allow yourself to be manipulated and you must fix it. All of it. You just talked about not appreciating the things you have. Then blink and cure your brain. It's a conscious decision. You're letting other people control your mind. The Matrix is trying to control your mind. They're very good at it. That's what they do to control all of us. You have to break the trap. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life. Because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you, because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, it is trained like everything else in life. It is trained. So if you find yourself not appreciating what you have until it's gone, then you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to focus or concentrate on tasks, you must blink and cure your brain. If you find yourself unable to go and dedicate yourself to something you don't want to do, you must blink and cure your brain. Because all of our minds have been under constant assault for years. The way the mind functions, the way people interact, has changed so significantly in the last 10 years you wouldn't believe. If you go to a party today as opposed to a party 10 years ago, they look completely different. People are acting differently. People are on their phones now than they ever used to be. Even now, people will go to places only to get an Instagram picture, even if they don't enjoy the place. It's all about pretending they're having fun as opposed to actually having fun. The entire paradigm of society and how we interact has now changed. Every single thing in the world is attempting to influence you. I'll give you another paradigm that people need to understand. I ask people have these beliefs. Doesn't matter what their belief is. Doesn't matter, they believe in something. I say, where did you get that belief from? And they don't know. Well, it's just how it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to wear a mask, whatever it is, right? Where did you get that belief? Who told you that? And does that person have your best interests at heart? Think about it. Think about all the things you truly believe. Think where you learned it, and think if that person actually gives a fuck about you. Because the only thing you should be learning from is personal experience from people who genuinely care about you and love you. Most people are out here believing things and repeating things that were told to them by people who don't even like them, by their enemies. Everyone's mind is fundamentally, all of it. Look at me. I'm a guy who decided to conquer social media. I blinked, I cured my brain, I used basic indefatigability, I used perspicacity, I used compendiousness, I used my mind, and I focused, and I can conquer the world in a few short months. It's not difficult, there's just no competition, because everybody's distracted. They're getting distracted by this, distracted by that, watching Netflix. I'm like, Jack, it's so easy to win if you can control your own mind. But it seems that nobody can. And that's how the people who run the world keep the world running, because they have all the slaves exactly where they need them to be, permanently distracted and semi-depressed, working their asses off in jobs which will never satisfy them and never pay enough money. That's the matrix. Schools are designed to make you a slave. You're set up for slavery. Whole thing's a scam. The education system's a scam. The judicial system's a scam. The medical system's a scam. Look at these last few years. You're living in Canada. You haven't learned that everything's a scam? All of it. Oh, but don't worry. If things don't go my way, I'll get to go to court and have my say in court. Yeah, that's fair. We learned that doesn't mean a thing. The law doesn't mean a thing. Your rights don't mean a thing. It's all a scam. The only hope you have is to cure your brain, see the attacks which are coming from the matrix, get a strong network of individuals such as the war room, and then learn how to escape. Most people are so deep inside of their programming. What did Morpheus say in the Matrix? Most people are so hopelessly dependent on the system they will die and fight to defend it. Most people will sit here and pretend that the world they live in is just and fair because they are slaves, slave-minded. And to break the slave mind, to truly resist the programming, you have to understand what's happening to you. And this is only the beginning. I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. But the basic answer to everything is you must control your mind.
Do you see the potential in me?
Yeah, I do see the potential in you. But there's potential inside of every. This is what the beautiful thing about being a man is, right? Because being a man is difficult. It's so much harder than being a woman. Being a man is hard mode. But just like you play the video game on hard mode, when you win, you get a higher score. There is no better existence than a top tier male. Being a woman would. Whoa. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I don't mean that in a horrible way. I mean that there's no conquest. You don't conquer, you're born with value, and by the time you're 27-year-old and you have some kids. Great, good, that's a woman's path, fine. But you don't get to conquer the world.
Yeah, but
like Genghis Khan.
But to be fair, there's been accomplishments like that women have done that have been like superior in history.
They can accomplish things, but the true importance of being a woman is procreation. I'll be honest with you. Let's talk about this now. I mean the best for people. I want everyone to be successful. I want the world to be a better place. And I think the world's a better place based on the back of strong men who stand up for what they believe in. I think that's how the world's always been a better place. The Matrix programming says the opposite, but what did I say earlier about who is telling us, who is giving us these ideas, and do they care about us? They're telling us that to be a better place, all the men need to be weaklings and compassionate without any morals or without any hard lines or beliefs, and they must talk in a very, very soft way, and we need to be very, very compassionate and very, very tolerant and all these things. But if you look at history, the only times things were peaceful and nice is when strong men stood up with their swords and said, no, this is mine and this works this way and no one's going to come fuck with it. I think that masculinity and strength is what makes things beautiful, is what preserves things, and is what we need more of. This is what's missing from the world. All of the problems in the world today could be solved by men of honor, not doing bad things, men of honor standing up and saying, no, this is wrong. That could fix a lot. But nobody seems to want to do it because they're too busy being distracted by the matrix, depressed.
Angie, people who have addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, do you recommend that people to stop their addiction? Do they cut it cold turkey, or do they slowly stop it, ease off it?
It's a good question. It's difficult, right? Because there's a lot of personal circumstances involved, and it's different addictions do different things, etc. I don't know. I can't imagine truly wanting to quit something and not being able to quit. I can't imagine it. Like, when I talk to people who say, I want to quit smoking, I say, when? They go, oh, well, soon. But that means you don't want to quit. You want to keep smoking for a while and quit later. Like, I could quit cigars today. Like, it wouldn't even plague my mind. Like, if I wanted to quit, I'd quit. I can't imagine a mind frame or a mindset where I want to do something and can't do it.
Right.
So it's almost difficult for me to answer that question, because if you have that kind of mind, if your mind is so fundamentally broken that you cannot do with your own mind what you want to do,
right,
you know, like that, then you're just fucked, right? Life is hierarchical. There's always going to be kings and there's always going to be peasants. If you have a mind that you can't control, then you're never going to be a king. You're going to be a peasant. That's your life. You have a peasant's life ahead of you, and that's your destiny. Enjoy, right? There's always been peasants. That's life. But I believe that the most important thing you can do as a man is to gain control of your mind. Once you have control of your mind, life is so ridiculously easy. It's so ridiculously easy. It's so easy to be in. People say to me, Tate, you're in good shape. All you do is drink vodka and travel the world. You're never even home. You never even have a gym. How do you do it? It's ridiculously easy if you control your mind. If I decide to do 1,000 push-ups, I'll do them. Maybe I have to do them one at a time. Maybe I'll get tired. Maybe I need a break. I'm going to do 1,000 because I said I'm going to do 1,000. It's not hard. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Once you control your mind, it's easy, right? Getting over a breakup with that. You miss that girl, you're upset, you miss her with all your heart, da-da-da. But once you realize she's gone, if you control your mind, she's gone now. She's gone now, I'm gonna miss her. That's a shame. Off to the gym. You either control your mind or you don't. And all of these things stem from the same problem. It's something you can do. It's something that is learned. It's something that is taught. But it's something that I needed to survive. So for me, it's easy, right? It's all I've ever known. Right. But people have they don't need it to survive, so they never develop the skill. That's just how it works. At the end of World War II, when men went to Europe and saw unspeakable horrors at the end of World War II, did they all come home and need therapy, or did they all come home and get back to life?
Back to life.
Because everyone was taught to have a mind that they control because they needed it to survive. There's no one else. That's how life worked back then. Now imagine there was a war that big. Imagine the therapy, the fallout, no one would be able to just go back in. And I'm not saying they didn't see bad things. I'm not saying it's not hard. It's horrible. But that's how it works. That's life. Like I've seen, we've all had our trauma. You have to get through it.
Have you ever been in love before?
Completely. I believe in love. I believe in love. I believe in men and women being in love. I believe in finding a woman and loving her with all my heart. I'm not going to let her take it from me. I'm not going to let her walk over my standards or my boundaries. I'm a man. I love you with all my heart. And I said, you're not going to the club with your girls. I want to go. Cool. Then we're over. And I will love you while I don't see you. I might still love you a little while, but that's the line. You overstepped the line. Goodbye. That's life. I can love her and ignore her texts. Watch me. I can be head over heels in love and still ignore her for breaking my rules. Because I set the rules because I'm a man. It's my world. You step into my world. I don't step into your world. You step into my world. You're never going to win 100% of the time. You might love a loser, cool, but you might love a bitch and keep her. If I let her go to the club with her girls all the time, how long is it until she meets a new dude and cheats on me anyway? Sooner or later. You're going to lose her anyway, so why not lose her as a man, sticking to your guns instead of losing her 7 months later behind your back? Just stick up for yourself. Stick up for yourself. But this is it. But people are so scared of the emotions. That's all it is. No one's going to shoot them in the head. They're scared of the emotions of missing her. You're a full-grown man. You're scared of some emotions. Sit in bed and be sad and play your chess and go to the gym and be sad and lift your weights and be sad for a while and do your so you're not sad anymore. You're scared of emotions to the point you let it run your life. It's insane. And this is the world we're in today. Everyone's scared. All full-grown men are scared of feeling bad. It's crazy.
What hobbies do you do besides obviously go to the gym?
I like to race fast cars. And then conquering Earth. This is my new hobby, is conquering Earth and freeing minds. I watched the movie The Matrix. I watched Morpheus. And I understood why he goes back inside the Matrix to free minds. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm on this podcast for. I don't care if I take one person and I free his mind. That's my new hobby now. My new hobby now is replicating the mindset which is going to be capable of resisting the oncoming enslavement of humanity. I am Morpheus coming in and out inside of the Matrix, driving the Nebuchadnezzar up and down from Zion, freeing minds. That's my new hobby. And I'll be around for a while. And then one day I might vanish and disappear. I can buy a $100 million yacht and just not talk to anybody. I might decide. Take my 10 women and settle down. If I want to. I have 20 kids. Easy. If that's what I decide to do. I'm here freeing minds for a while, and this is my new current hobby, and I'm enjoying it. It didn't take long to conquer the entire internet. All of it is mine. I own it. Done. This is it. Conquest. Conquest is all life's ever been for men. This is what men have an innate desire to to conquer. Even you care about having as many viewers as possible on your streams. You care about being as big as possible. You care about conquering. Why did the Romans wake up, melt rocks, make swords, and walk in random directions? They didn't have Google Maps. They didn't have a clue where they were going. Random directions to find some other group of people and up and take their... Why? Conquest. This is conquer. Why did Genghis Khan ride from Mongolia all the way to Vienna? It's a long way. Why? Conquer. Men are born with this innate desire to conquer. It's inside of us. They're trying to suppress it. They're trying to distract it away from you, tell you that you're wrong. You're toxically masculine. You shouldn't want to conquer. You should want to sit at home and be tolerant. No, you shouldn't. You should want to conquer. Doesn't matter if you do it fiscally and make as much money as possible. Doesn't matter if you do it in the gym, lifting as much weight as possible. Doesn't matter if you're trying to become as big as possible on the internet like you have. You need to find out a way to conquer Earth and conquer. It's the only thing that's going to make you happy as a man. The only thing that's going to make you intrinsically happy is conquest. Nothing else. If you're depressed, it's because you don't conquer something. Get up and do it. It doesn't have to be a negative at all. You can do it in a very, very positive way. You can have a positive impact on the world. I like to think that my impact on the world has been positive. I've conquered the whole internet, and I've done it in a positive way. I'm helping the world. Maybe my enemies, maybe the Matrix doesn't like me, but there's young men who are watching every single one of my videos whose lives are changing. So conquest can be a very positive thing. So I'm here on the internet conquering the internet because I've decided to, because that's my hobby. Because I don't do anything degenerate. I don't take drugs. I don't gamble anymore. I used to gamble a bit, bored of it. Don't gamble. Don't take drugs. I drink sometimes, but it's really not a big deal for me. I don't like to drink too much. Great, but how much of it do you really need? I have enough. But what else is there to do? Drive cars and conquer the internet. There ain't nothing else to do. That's it. So my organization, the War Room, is already, I would vouch, as one of the top 5 most important and powerful organizations on the planet. Within 10 years, we will be the most powerful organization on the planet. I can't even tell you here in public that you will not believe the influence we have. You will not believe the organizations we have infiltrated. You would not believe it if I told you. I'm going to run the most powerful, closed circuit organization on the planet. It's going to be mine. And I'm going to conquer Earth. And I'm going to have 20 sons from 10 supermodels. And I'm going to die. And there's going to be 20 Andrew Tates watching my old videos, continuing the legacy. This is what I'm going to do for my bloodline. I'm going to conquer fucking Earth.
What is your next goal?
I don't even look at it as goals, because goals are something that you put on the wall to motivate yourself, right?
Right.
Goals are so if you want to buy a car, you put the car on the wall and it motivates you to go to work to get the car. So that's a goal. Goals are for motivation. I don't work on motivation. I work on discipline. So I don't have a set goal. I just get up and do what I know I'm supposed to do. I don't work to try and afford that car. I work because I'm supposed to work. And then I can already afford that car and another one and another one and a boat and a plane and a house and another house and a land. And I just work. I do my work. That is my duty as a man. It's my duty to God. I train the gym. It is my duty to God. I do my duties to God. I fulfill my duty. I'm an old school gentleman of honor and respect. I do what I'm supposed to do. I don't have any particular set goals. Anything I decide to do or want to do, I can do instantly. And if I can't do it instantly, I can do it pretty quickly. I don't need goals in that old traditional sense. I do what I'm supposed to do. It's not a matter of how I feel or how I'm motivated. If I was depressed, it's impossible. But if I was depressed, my life would be, and the day-to-day activities would be exactly the same as if I was ecstatically happy. You wouldn't be able to see a difference. I'd be up at the same time. I'd be in the gym the same. I'd be doing the same shit. Those are my duties my duties to God. How I feel has nothing to do with it. Completely unrelated. How I feel is unrelated to my duties to God. They don't change based on how I feel. They're the same. And they will be completed because I refuse to fail God or my bloodline. There's how many people in the stream? 188,000, 168,000, whatever. You could take 150,000 of these people, travel back in time, and stand them in front of their ancestors. And their ancestors who fought saber-toothed tigers or escaped the Mongol hordes or managed to dodge bombs in the Second World War. All the they went through just for this fucking cretin to be born. And to look at him, who he is, listen to his life story, listen to what he does on a day-to-day basis, and they would feel nothing but shame. Your ancestors did all that struggling to survive, hunting and gathering, avoiding enemies, anything it took, dying at age 30 from a tooth infection, all the crap they went through just for you to be born so you could smoke weed and jack off. That's what your ancestors died for. That's what they worked so hard for. That's who you are. That's the end of your fucking bloodline. Do you feel no shame? It's shameful. My ancestors will look at me and think everything we went through was fucking worth it. Your ancestors will look at, most of these people, their ancestors look at them and feel nothing but disgust. It's true, it's disgusting. And they should look in the mirror, look deep in their own eyes and say, yes, I'm disgusting, I can change this. That's the beauty about being a man. If you're disgusting, you can change it. That's the beauty. There's nothing stopping you changing it.
You're right.
And you must accept it. You must accept it first. Most of these people, what they do is they hang around with other disgusting people, and then they're a little group of disgusting people, and they think, well, I'm not disgusting, everyone's disgusting, and this is normal, and it's normal to be a fucking goth. Not in my world, it isn't. This is when I was making jokes earlier about predators and prey. In my world, I'm in a world of predators. It's not normal to be a fucking jerk off in my world. There are duties that men must fulfill, whether to God or to your bloodline. But this is a genuine, honest. I'll say this now. Of those 150,000 people, I guarantee even their fucking living relatives, their living parents aren't even proud of you. Like your own father's ashamed of you, and you don't even feel motivated to do it. It's a fucking shame. If you were to go and look your father in the eye and said, you know what, I could have been a UFC champion, I could have been a multi-millionaire, I could have been a race car driver, I could have been a nuclear physicist, could have done all these things, but I was busy on, no. You think he's gonna be proud of you? No. No. And there's men here who will deny it, right? There's men who will go, no, 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 no. But those are the ones who are most lost. It's the denial that's going to hold you back the most. The people who go, yes, I'm wasting my potential. Those are the ones who have potential. The ones who stand up and go, I am wasting my potential. I could be anything and I am not that yet. They have a chance. The men who go, well, no, actually, I'm fine. They're inside the matrix, fully slave-minded. They're a waste of time. But if you sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, I am wasting my potential. Yes, I can be more than I am. Even if I'm already great, I can be better. As good as I am, I still push myself to the limit every single day. I have every single thing a man could possibly want. I'm still pushing myself. This is your prerogative as a man. But you need to be instilled with a sense of duty. Duty to your bloodline. You must want it. You need to want it deep inside your soul. I can't die as anything less than emperor. It's my destiny.
I'm telling you right now, I promise you, I'm gonna literally be texting you on IG and shit, showing you like I'm really gonna be hitting the gym.
Do it. And you're gonna feel so much better for doing it. Not even just physically, but mentally. Knowing that you pushed yourself to do things you don't want to do, there's nothing that feels better than the feeling you have after you did something you don't want to do. Because you know when you're supposed to clean your room.
Yeah, you're right.
You eventually clean it and you're like, thank God I've cleaned it.
I did it. Like the homework. I went back to school. Oh, I did my homework. Oh, thank God I did it. I didn't want to do it, but thank God I did it. It's done.
Correct. That's what it feels like every single day if your life is nothing but discipline. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful existence. It's a beautiful existence. After I picked up my Chiron, when I bought the Bugatti and I picked it up, the first thing I did was order another one. Like it never ends. There's always a new mountain to climb.
So you're saying there's never really beating the game. There's always a mission. There's always something to conquer.
Always. And even if it's just tiny little, it's professionalism. It's holding yourself to such a high standard. There's a professional way to do everything. I'll tell you a story. I lost my keys about 3 weeks ago. It was the first time I'd lost anything in 4 or 5 years. Because when I put something down, I've taught myself to put it down and repeat in my head where I put it. I put my phone on the kitchen counter. I put my phone on the kitchen counter. I say it in my head like 3 times as I walk off. I don't lose things. I know where everything is all the time. I'm professional. I don't lose stuff ever. And I lost my keys. I was furious at myself. The ways I punished myself for only losing my keys took me 20 minutes to find them. Found them. I donated money to charity. I refused to go driving. I worked harder in the gym. I fasted for 24 hours. I punished myself. And my chick's like, what are you doing? So I lost keys. She goes, yeah, but it's only you losing keys. You don't get it. I don't make mistakes. I don't make mistakes, and I made one, and I will pay a price. I will not lose my keys again. God is my witness. God above, I will not lose my keys again. I will make sure I repeat in my head 25 times if necessary. Every time I put anything down out of my pockets exactly where it is, I will never lose anything ever again. I am a professional. I am exceptionally hard on myself because that's how I enjoy life. I can't imagine life any other way. I can't imagine life going through life losing my keys, oops, crying over it, oops. Oh, I don't feel like it today, oops. I can't even fathom that existence. It sounds like hell to me. I get anxiety even imagining that existence. You want to talk about anxiety? I get anxious even imagining living that way. I am a hyper professional. So can you always be more professional? Yes. I can always be more professional. I could memorize the number plate of every single car behind me every single time I drive a car to make sure I'm not being followed. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn that now. And if I drive for more than 2 or 3 hours, I start to forget the number plates. So it's difficult. So there's always a new level of professionalism. There's always a new place to go. So the game is never completed.
So it never ends. There's always something.
There's always something, and thank God there is, because if I completed the
Then there would be nothing to do. You'd lose your mind.
I'd be more depressed than that would be the true sadness.
Yeah.
The true sadness when the game is over.
Wow.
The game has just begun.
How you view the world absolutely and utterly shapes how you react to the world, how you act in the world, how people view you. It's all down to how you view things. There's very few things in this life we actually have any control over. I learned all of the lessons I'm going to be teaching you the hard way. I didn't learn them in a course, so you guys are very, very lucky. I learned all the absolute hard way. I came from absolutely nothing. There's a lot of rumors circulating online that, my father was a world level chess player and that I got a lot of money from him and I came from a rich family, etc., etc. Absolutely not the case. My dad was a G, a straight G. He was in the military. He was based in England in the Air Force. My dad was actually recruited into the CIA. He was a spy. Now he's dead. I'm happy to say that. So my father worked for the intelligence services. He was based in England. He met my mum, a pretty little white thing. He was a big black dude. So back then that was a taboo. He grabbed her, took her back to America with him. 3 beautiful offspring, me being the oldest. And then he continued with his life of being a G, which is pimping hoes and playing chess at world level and traveling the earth. He never had any large financial sums. He certainly didn't leave me a penny. He didn't have anything to leave. So all he left me with was a mindset, and that mindset was enough that allowed me to build the life I wanted to build. My father never wanted to be fiscally rich. He never gave a shit about being rich. He cared about other things. If he wanted to be rich, he would have been extremely rich. And I personally decided I wanted to be rich, and all of the lessons that I'm going to be putting in this course, a lot are from him and a lot are from experiences of growing up poor, growing up in a single mother household, growing up in social housing, the projects in England. When my mother and father split, I was 9 years old, I went to England. Becoming a world level athlete, and now becoming a self-made multimillionaire. So all of these lessons I've learned absolutely the hard way. And if you disagree with anything in this video, that is your prerogative. I can absolutely assure you, I know what I'm talking about. I've lived an extreme life. There's a lot of people online who give out advice, that's fine. I've lived an extreme life, more extreme than most. I have been in a single mother, my mom crying because she can't pay the bills, broke as a joke. I've been a multimillionaire. I've been a nobody. I've been famous. I've been a world level athlete. I've started from nothing to the point where I had to run to the gym because I didn't have a car to get there. I've done it all. So I've lived a very extreme life, and this is where these lessons come from. So when I talk about G mindset is absolutely and utterly the most important thing. This is actually quite funny. A girl I was dating once, she said to me, you remind me of RuPaul. And RuPaul is a famous drag queen, so it's not very good. I was like, why? She goes, because he has a saying, he said, I always knew I was famous. I had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. She goes, you have the same mindset. She said this to me before I had nothing, because I told everyone I'm going to be world champion. Years before I even had a British title, before I even had an English title, I just started fighting. I was like, I'm the next world champion, yeah. I just started saying it, but I said it with genuine conviction. I knew I would be the best. I genuinely knew I would be the best. You have to understand that this world, everyone constantly tells you, do not be arrogant. Do not have an ego. When I had my Twitter, I put my ego into overdrive because I found it entertaining. But people will constantly tell you to not talk in a way which is full of conviction. People do not like you to be arrogant and have an ego. This is the worst thing ever. Let me tell you a fact, the number one facet of the G mindset. Your life is never going to be worse if you walk through the world believing you are the man. You wake up and look in the mirror and go, I'm the man. I am the man. There's no one on this planet who can do I couldn't do if I put my mind to it. I don't give a how good you are at piano. If I decide to play piano, I would be better than you at piano. And I believe that. I don't just say these things, I believe them. And when you go through life believing you really, really are the man, there are very few downsides. The downsides are everyone's going to call you an arrogant, everyone's going to call you arrogant, everyone's going to call you a kid, everyone's going to say he has a big ego, You're going to lose a few loser friends. Who cares? What you are going to gain is other people on the same path. You're going to gain other people who think, yeah, well, I'm the man too. This guy's the man. Let's make some money. That's what's going to happen. So the first thing you can do with the G mindset is you need to start believing you are, even if you're not the man yet. Even before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be the man. So I don't give a. And I was happy to say that to anybody. When people called me arrogant and stupid and deluded, I just sit there and look at them and say, yeah, you, I'm going to be the man. And this is how now, when my life's kind of come full circle, this is quite interesting. I'll tell you a very quick story. When I was 19, I think I had a sales job, and I had to drive. Down to a sales meeting to try and sell some advertising. I had a really old car. No, I must have been older than 19. I was about 21. I had this old car and I'm driving. And as I'm driving my car, and I couldn't afford to have it fixed, I had a bump in the front. The front was all caved in. So I had to park it away from the sales meeting and walk to the sales meeting. So I'm driving this car. Anyway, pull up next to me at the lights. Red light, pull up next to me. Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock, music blasting. Drop top Aston Martin with a Swedish number plate. Some dude about 30 with a hot blonde next to him. And I remember looking at him thinking, who the f is this guy? Like, here I am with my broken car on my way to do a job. I can't afford to fix my car. This guy is from Sweden and he's just driven to England and he's got a Swedish plate and he's got this hot and he's got music pumping and he's on his way to have lunch. Like, where the f did my life go wrong? I want to be like that guy. And I think this every single time I live in Romania now. Now I drive around Romania in my Lamborghini or my Aston Martin or my Ferrari or my Bentley, whichever one I decide to drive. And they all have English number plates. And I always have a girl with me. And people look at me and people are giving me the exact same look I gave that guy. People look at me like, who the f is this guy from England who just drove here from England? I'm standing at the bus stop about to go to work. And this guy's got a $250,000 car and all on his way to have lunch with music blaring. And the reason I managed to go full circle is those small events in my life, seeing someone else with more success than me, ingrained in my brain. And to a lot of people, it doesn't ingrain in their brain. I was walking to school. If I was walking to college with my friends, I used to have to walk. I went to a college on the other side of town, so I had to walk 4.6, I think it was, miles to college. So I used to walk. Halfway, I meet some other people, but towards the end, there'd be a group of 5 or 6 of us along the way. And when I met, and one day a Ferrari went past us, and everyone else was like, oh, we're in a Ferrari. I'm like, and I remember saying to the group, I was only 18, I said, doesn't it annoy you that this guy has a 300,000-pound car and you'll probably never have one? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's only a car. I'm like, no, you don't understand. There is a life hack. There's something happening where people are living lives that other people don't get to live. There's something happening. There's something going on. I want to have a 300,000-pound car. I want it. And no one else wanted it. These little events didn't ingrain in their brain. Ferrari driving past me bothered me. And it bothered me to my core, to the point where I decided I would do anything it takes to have one. Whereas other people just saw it and carried on with their normal lives. This is the reason I have 6 or 7 supercars and other people don't. Because these small events ingrained in my brain. So this is the second thing. G mindset. First thing you have to believe is a man, you can achieve anything. And when I say that, I'm going to say that again. You have to believe you're a man. And you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'm not saying you can achieve anything easily. I'm not saying it's not going to take a whole bunch of work. I'm not saying it's going to happen quickly. But you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'll tell you something now. I don't go to be an astronaut. I don't care about climbing Mount Everest. You give me enough time to train, I will get it done. I know that for a fact because I know who I am as a man, as a person. The second thing is, you need to be perspicacious. You need to understand that in this world, there's a whole bunch of people doing amazing shit you are not doing. And that needs to piss you off. Because if it pisses you off, you become motivated all of a sudden. I was the only one who was pissed off when that Aston Martin was next to me and I had my sales job. I was the only one who was pissed off when I saw that Ferrari drive past. Other people were not annoyed by it. And they're not annoyed by it. They're not driven to be it. You understand? They're not driven to be where that person was. You need to be annoyed, and I'm telling you to be angry. Anger is a fantastic force. Like I said, the world tells you not to be arrogant, it tells you not to be angry. It's 2 things it tells you to do. Don't be arrogant, don't have an ego, and you don't have anger. You're a man, you're a full-grown man. It's perfectly fine for you to be pissed off. It's perfectly fine for you to look around at your life, look at the girl, look at the house you live in, look at the car you drive, and get pissed off and go, you know what, I want a nicer house, and I want a faster car. There's nothing wrong if you take that anger and you direct it in the correct direction. This is the reason I stopped fighting now. People go, why do you stop fighting? Because I fought and I went through hell to get everything I now have. I had nothing when I fought. I had nothing. And I wanted the life I now have. Now I wake up in one of my 3 mansions with one of my 7 supercars and one of my 15 women. What do I need to fight for? People have different motivations for different things. There's some fighters out there who fight for other reasons. But my motivation was I was pissed off at the world. And now I'm not as angry as I used to be, so I don't believe I'm as good a fighter as I used to be. Also, I'm not as good as I used to be. So that's why I decided to retire early. But this is the second thing. First thing, believe you're the man. Second thing, you need to get angry about your situation. If you've bought this course and you're watching it and you're sitting there, right now you're watching it and you look around you and you don't own the home you're in, get off. If there ain't a Ferrari on your drive, get off. If you don't have 10 Playboy Bunny level beauties, get off. And what the you need to sit there and realize, whoa. I have a few years of consciousness. And even less than that, I have a few short years as a young man. Because age will damage you. I mean, if you're a millionaire in your 60s, it's not nearly as good as being a millionaire at my age. I became a millionaire at 28. So you need to realize you've got a few short years as a young man. You're wasting them. You need to sit there and go, get angry. Because getting angry, forced, directed anger is an extremely powerful force. So these are the first 2 things you need to do for a G mindset. This is the third thing, and this is a very, very important thing, because I try and explain this to people and they don't seem to understand it. So I'm going to make this very, very blunt. Nobody, absolutely nobody, gives a about you as much as you're going to have to give up ways. Nobody cares about you as much as they need to care to fix your life. Even your parents, even your friends, even all the people who think they care about you. They care about you, yeah, sure. There may be 2 or 3 people on the planet who genuinely care about you. But nobody is going to come to your bed, drag you out of bed, drag you to a job, force you to work hard, go and get you a hot, go and buy you a Ferrari. Nobody is going to do that for you. You are never going to have any of the things you want if you do not get them yourself. Nobody cares about you enough to do it for you. This is absolutely true. Personally, I'm an atheist. And when I say I'm an atheist, people seem to be a bit confused by this. I don't know why that surprises people. But I'm absolutely not really an atheist. And the reason I'm an atheist is because I believe that there is no grand plan. There's no God in the sky looking out for me. I don't believe that there's anyone here to save me on this planet or in the sky or anywhere else. I am me. I was born. I have maybe, if I'm lucky, 70, because I'm quite big. When you're physically large, you die sooner. 70 years of consciousness. And these years I experienced, the only person who's going to make them fun and exciting and interesting, the only person who's going to make me happy and live a life that I want to live is me. Nobody's going to do it for me. No God has a plan for me. There's no one else who wakes up each day and goes, you know what? I want to make Andrew Tate's life better. I want to get him more money. No one thinks that about me. No one thinks that about you either. Nobody thinks that about you. The only person who gives a shit about your life truly is you. And if you don't give it, then you're. But point 2, get angry. You're going to start giving it very soon. And after you get angry, you need to realize that nobody is going to give you the things you want. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump is president or not. I'm a huge Trump fan, but it doesn't make a difference. No politician is going to make you rich. No one else is going to come along and say, I'm going to concentrate my effort on fixing your life. Nobody. You have to understand you are out here alone, absolutely alone. And when you understand these 3 things, you start to see how a mindset comes together. Nobody's going to save you. It's totally down to you. You're pissed off with your current situation and you want to change it. Plus you believe you can do absolutely anything. This is how I thought at 18 years old. This is how I achieved so much in the short years. This is how I went from a nobody to a world level athlete and a multimillionaire. Also, people confuse the 2. Kickboxing is not boxing. I made across my entire career in kickboxing, maybe about 700,000. I now have about 8 or 9 million. This was not made in kickboxing, this was made in other ventures. I have managed to be a world level athlete and an extremely successful businessman at exactly the same time. Because at a very young age, when I had my prime resource of energy and power at 18, 19 years old, I understood those 3 tenets. I believe I can do anything. I'm pissed off I don't have the life I want. And nobody else is going to give it to you. These are 3 things you need to understand. If any one of these elements is missing, you'll never have the right mindset. The G mindset will never formulate if any one of these elements is missing. All 3 are absolutely essential. And the sooner you get your act together, the sooner you start to panic and worry and be concerned that you're 24, 25, you've not yet. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who got a contract for NBA with their parents, or they won the lottery, or who knows what. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who are multimillionaires, hot models. These Instagram girls with 3 million followers, they're getting by someone and it ain't you. And that needs to you off. You need to get concerned. You need to get worried. I'm running out of time. You need to get some urgency in your life. Put these 3 things together. It's absolutely essential. It's the beginning of the G mindset. When you have these 3 things totally done, I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you what happened for me. So I became a sayer. So my brother used to say, you've become a sayer. And what that means is I made a pact to him that my word was unbreakable, strength and honor. And that if I said something, I meant it. So I'd wake up in the morning and I'd say to my brother, I'm doing 1,000 press-ups today. Once I said it, once I spoke it, it's like a genie, it became true. If I said I was going to do 1,000 press-ups, I'd do them. Because if I didn't do them, I'd feel guilty within myself that I was the kind of person who talked. Because G's don't talk. So the 3 tenets we've already learned, when you've instilled these in your mind, you don't want to be the kind of person who talks. So if I woke up to my brother and said, I'm doing 1,000 press-ups or I'm running 20 miles today, I would do it. Because if I didn't do it, I'd feel like a dickhead. Because when you instill these mindsets, when your mindset changes, you start to be extremely accountable for yourself. No one's coming to save you. You become extremely accountable. So when you realize that your word is one of the few things you have on this planet, if you say things, you're going to start sticking to it. So then it becomes very easy to train. You say, I'm going to train every day this week. I'm going to train for 2 hours a day. As soon as you said it, it's basically done. If I say something, it's basically done. It's set in stone. If I say something, I'm going to do it. There's no way I'm going to say some words and speak them into existence on this planet. And then I'm going to be the kind of quits because it's too hard. If I say I'm going to do 10,000 push-ups, I'm going to do it. Because I'm the kind of person who sticks to the words he says. And this is another thing you don't understand with the G mindset. You be very, very specific with what you say. Because if you instill your mindset correctly and you start to just say things, just start saying things. Then you hold yourself accountable. Say things you don't even think you want to do. Wake up and go up to your friend or your mom or whoever and say, you know what? I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups today. Say it to people. And they're going to say, no, you're not. So watch me. And then you have a choice. You're either going to succeed like a G or you're going to be a little... You're going to quit at 310 because it's hard. What kind of man are you? That's a decision you need to make. If you're the kind of man I was, I'd say and I'd stick to it. My brother said, you become a sayer. I used to train with my brother. He'd say, let's do 500. So let's do 2,000. He'd say, well, you've said it now, so we have to do it. I said, exactly. I said it now, so now we have to do it. There is no surrender. We have to do it. This is another facet of the G mindset. This is number 4. You've got to start saying it, and your word has to be iron, unbreakable. This translates across everything in life. It's not just training. It translates across everything in life, even relationships. I say to my girlfriend, stop me when you're out the house. Men say that all the time in arguments, and then they continue to argue for 2 hours. They'll say that, and then they'll argue. If I say that, and she continues to talk, I start throwing her out the door, because I said it. And if I say something, I mean it. If I look a man in his eyes and say, I'm going to whoop your ass, shut up, and he continues to talk, I have to kick his... I'm careful with what I say. If I tell him to shut up and he doesn't shut up, that's a different thing. If I say shut up or I'm going to whoop, he continues to talk, I will fuck him up. Because I'm the kind of person, if I say something, I mean what I say. I'm specific with my language, and I mean every word I speak. This is another tip. This is number 4. You have to start meaning every word you speak. You say to someone, I'm going to get rich. You better do it. Otherwise, you're a liar. You're a liar, and you're a little... You say, I'm going to put some muscle on. You better do it. You say, I'm going to lift this weight. You better do it. You say, I'm going to go get this girl. You better go get her. You got to be the kind of person who says things and means them. You promise a guy you're going to whoop his ass. You better whoop his... Don't be a person. 99% of the people out here talk. They say things they half mean or things they don't mean. If I say something, I mean it. And this is number 4. This is the 4th element. You've heard the first 3. This is number 4. Everything you say, you must mean. And once you implement that correctly, then you get the ability to motivate yourself to no end. You get unlimited motivation because all you have to do is find the energy to say it. You find the energy to say it, then you have to do it. It's literally that easy. I'd wake up in the morning and say, Tristan, we're running 20 miles today. You'd say, oh, for sake. It's nearly a marathon. I'm like, yep, let's go. Doesn't matter if it takes all day. I said it. And if I say something, it has to happen. This is the 4th tenet and one of the most important ones because that is the power to unlimited motivation. And that's the power to be taken seriously across all spheres of your life. Be specific with your language. I was in a restaurant the other day, some guy was arguing with his girlfriend. They were talking. He said, you better be quiet. Better be quiet. He kept saying you better be, but there was no threat at the end of it. I didn't really like that. Like, if you're going to make a threat, make a threat. But my point is, he's trying to make a threat, but he has no threat in the end because it's empty and the bitch is ignoring him. All these things translate across your entire sphere. But if you say to a girl or a guy, you better be quiet or else, and then you don't follow through, they're going to remember that. Even on a subconscious level, they're going to remember that. Your word's going to be devalued. My word has value. Literally, I can go into, let's say, the Ferrari dealership. I can say, I'll pay you tomorrow. Shake his hand. He'll give me the car. He knows me. I can go and get my car fixed and say, I'll be back on Monday. I got something to sort out. He'll shake my hand. I don't lie. If I say I'll be back on Monday and I don't have money on Monday, I'll rob a bank to make sure I have money on Monday because I said I'd be there to pay. It's the kind of person you need to be. So these are the first 4 elements of the G mindset. When these sound like simple things, but to implement them correctly, truly and correctly in your mind will change your entire view of the world. You'll start to look at everything completely differently. When you implement these 4 things correctly, when you say, if I say something, I'm going to do it, my word is iron-willed. When you say that nobody is ever coming to save me, ever. When you say that I'm off, I don't have the life I want to have. And you couple that with, I believe I can do anything. If you truly believe all of these 4 things, it's going to change your entire view of this planet. I'll wrap up quickly with probably my most famous tweet when I had COVID Tate. They verified me and everything, and I spoke too much truth, so I had to go. When my most famous tweets when I said depression was real. And I had A-list celebrities. I had the girl from Game of Thrones. I had literally A-list guys. Who's that dude from No Country for Old Men? And he was a bad guy in Bond as well. I actually quite liked him as an actor until he came through. I was having arguments with all these people. And everyone's telling me how dangerous my mindset is. What is dangerous about believing that you control your own mind? Because if you implement the 4 things I've just told you, depression becomes garbage. Depression is not a thing anymore. Feeling depressed is real. You can be depressed with your situation. I just told you, number 2, get depressed. That's fine. But believing you can fix it yourself is the important key. Sitting there believing that depression is some monster from the sky that strikes your brain and now you have no control over it and you must take pills every day is the absolute enemy to a G mindset. I don't give a how depressing my situation. The only person who can change it is me. The only person who can change how I feel about my situation or try and affect the situation directly is me. Even if you put me in a situation I can't change, if you put me in jail or depressed because I'm in jail, I still refuse to succumb to depression. I refuse to collapse mentally and give up. I know the only person who can control my mind is me. Nobody's coming to save me. No doctor with a pill is coming to save me. Depression isn't real. Depression is a state of mind designed to motivate you to find a life that doesn't depress you any further. That's all it is. Now you have to decide, are you man enough to go and get it done, or are you going to sit around and cry? And depression, the reason I talk about depression a lot is because depression in the Western world is the cure-all. It's the cure-all excuse. And this is what people are using. My life, because I'm depressed. No, you're depressed because your life is the other way around. And you're refusing to acknowledge that, and you want to sit there and live a life and pretend that some disease has struck you. And the reason you know that, anyone out there who's depressed, I'll tell you something, you're not depressed, you're a coward. And the reason you're a coward is as follows. You desperately try to defend this crippling ailment you have. When I tell you depression isn't real, you message me pages and pages, desperate to convince me I'm wrong, that depression is a real thing, and that your life is terrible, and this ailment has destroyed your life, because you're desperate to defend your excuse. If depression was really terrible, you wouldn't want to defend it. If depression was really so bad, and I'm telling you it's not real, and I know how to fix you, and if you implement a mindset like mine, you become immune to depression. If depression was so terrible, you'd listen to me and think, I need to try what this guy does. If he's immune to depression, it's impossible to depress him, I need to be like this man. But instead, no. You don't want to do that. You want to call me names and sit and defend this ailment because you know it's garbage. It's your excuse. It's your blanket. It's your shield. It's your excuse you get to pull out every time you look at the failure of a life. And that's why depression is absolutely not real. And anyone who's bought this course who thinks they're depressed, I'll tell you something now. Drop that coward bull. If you're watching this and you're depressed, drop and give me 200 press-ups. Do 200 press-ups. Look in the mirror. Look in your eyes and tell yourself you're the man. And drop that garbage, because you get absolutely nowhere in your life if you believe in that crap. Depression absolutely isn't real. And you're going to say this to people, and they're going to go nuts. They're going to call you arrogant, and they're going to call you all the things they called me. But your life is going to be a life worth living. Implement the 4 things I've told you. 4 important tenets of the G mindset. Understand nobody's coming to save you. Depression isn't real. It'll change your entire worldview once these 4 things are implemented correctly. And then we can move on to everything.